everybody, Yankee here. Today I want to take a moment and answer a question that I'm pretty sure I've answered before. I'm not 100% sure because I don't watch my videos. I don't think they're very good. I definitely don't find me funny. I didn't watch them when they were new. I definitely ain't going to go watch old ones. So I think I've covered this, but I'm not sure. But before I actually get to the question, I want to let everyone know if you hear any panting or farting during this video, for once it's not me, it's Django. Caden has a friend over there shooting on the range right now, and it's got Django a little excited. He's calmed down a little bit now. He's laying down in the safe behind me. Hopefully he'll stay there until this is over, but if you hear anything like that, it's him. With that being said, and getting back to the video here, the question I want to address, because I've received it a few times this week from a few different viewers, is what's the biggest mistake that preppers make? When preparing for a shit-hit-the-fan situation, be it natural disaster, civil unrest, whatever, what's the biggest mistake you see people making when preparing for that? Well, if I did cover this topic before, I'm pretty sure I probably said not being in any type of physical condition where you could actually do anything to survive. I love when you see preppers like, look how prepared I am. Look at all my food. Look at all my ammo. Look at my big four-wheel drive truck. I'm ready to go. And then they, almost pass out while saying that sentence because they're 350 pounds, 5'8". They can't walk up a set of stairs, but they think they're going to survive an apocalypse. Anytime they try to put their socks on themselves, they end up in the hospital for a couple of days, but they're going to survive that civil unrest. That's what really I think is the biggest mistake a lot of people make, not staying in shape. Now, I'm not the most fit guy in the world, but I get on the treadmill every day. Simply because I want to stay, alive. I want to stay alive. That's what I do it for. Not alive in the apocalypse. I just don't want to drop dead. I'm at that age where if I drop dead, no one's going to be surprised. So I got to try to stay at least a little bit fit. So that's one of the biggest mistakes people make. But I'm not going to cover that one because I think that's more of just a general mistake people make, even people that aren't prepping. So I'm going to leave that on the wayside, and I'm going to talk about something specific to preppers. I think the biggest mistake preppers make is they plan too much on bugging out and not locking in. All their plans revolve around being able to grab a certain amount of stuff and hitting the road and living, like the road warrior or something, like Mad Max. Or I'm heading to the woods. As soon as things go bad, I'm grabbing my duffel bag, throwing it in my Jeep and heading to the woods. And that's just a really bad idea because that's not a very easy situation to survive right there. In fact, you see situations all the time where survivalists go out in the woods, and if anything goes wrong, like their supply chain breaks down, whatever, they die. It's not really a survivable thing. If you don't have to do it, you shouldn't do it. You see all these guys that they disappeared, the police were trying to find them, and they disappeared into the woods in Arkansas. And then when did they get caught? Well, 2 weeks later when they're digging through a dumpster because they're starving to death. So it really isn't a viable scenario to be like, I'm going to bug out and live off the land or live on the road. It's not a viable situation. That's not a way to survive. If you can stay home, you need to stay home. And that should be your biggest priority when you're prepping. How do I stay home long term and survive? You need food. You need defense. You need a way to defend your home, like maybe have wood pieces pre-cut for your windows. So if things get really bad, you can go out there and screw them on. Give your house another level of defense. Have areas in your home where you can surveil your area. Now, this is especially true if you live somewhere where you're a little secluded. It makes it a lot easier. But even if you live in a suburb, your chances of being able to run to the woods and survive is slim. You need to be able to stay where you're at, especially if it's short term, like civil unrest, something like that. Or even natural disaster. As long as your home's not struck and you're not flooded or a tornado doesn't take you out or whatever, stay where you're at. I think that's the biggest mistake preppers make. They think they're going to bug out. You hear so much about bug out bags. I'm ready because I got my bug out bag and my gun with my case of ammo I can carry with me. Well, what about if you have to stay in your house for 2 months? Do you have enough food? Do you have enough water? Do you have a source of water? Do you have preparations made to defend your home and fortify your home? Those are the things you should be counting on most. And you should have a network of people that, are like-minded to you, also want to survive, want you to survive, family members, friends. that maybe can come together in one household and you've got enough for all of you. Or if it's neighbors, you have neighbors that you know are also prepared. And you can take turns defending property, preparing food, obtaining food and water. You've got a support system. Very few people survive as an army of one, especially not heading out into the wilderness and out onto the road. Out into the wilderness, that makes you a lot of times like something like bear food, more likely than a survivalist. And it makes it very unlikely you're going to survive. You're going to fall, you're going to get hurt, you're going to get hungry, cold, wet, all kinds of things. And make it very hard to live. So that's not a good idea to do. If you're out on the road, well, then you made yourself a target. Whatever you've got on you, somebody else wants it more, and they're smart enough to sit up in a tree somewhere and wait for somebody to walk by. Well, you're just a walking target. So your best bet is to stay home, and a lot of people ignore this. They don't prepare to stay home. They put too much emphasis on bug-out bags and bug-out vehicles, etc. I have a bug-out bag in my car, but I don't call it a bug-out bag. It's a get-home bag. That is a bag that if I'm out somewhere when civil unrest hits or natural disaster hits, I've got the tools I need to get home and the stuff I need to survive until I can get home. Because getting home should be your top priority. Unless home disappears, you should stay home. And this is true even in big cities. A lot of people will say, oh, in a big city, you want to have to flee. No, you don't want to be fleeing through the streets during civil unrest. Or when other people are looting and murdering and whatever to get what they need. That's not when you want to head outside. You want to be able to hole up where you are. Even if you're in an apartment in the big city, have enough food and water to stay there for a while. And the good thing about apartments in big cities, they're usually pretty secure. Usually one way in, one way out. So have the weapons you need to defend your property and your person. Have the supplies you need to feed yourself, give yourself water. Make sure you got enough to last a month at least. And then worry about venturing out. And also still have that support system with your neighbors. Too many people make the mistake of thinking, I'm going to be an army of one and I'm going to hit the road when bad times come a knocking. Because that is probably the worst thing you can do. That bug-out philosophy is actually a bug-out fallacy. And too many people fall for it. And that's the biggest mistake I think a lot of people who are prepping make when it comes to actually being prepared to survive. Hospitalized for a week because of it. Fuck viewer, because I've gotten this view times over the last week or so. Hey everybody, Yankee here. Close this door, it's echoey. But as I was saying, I want to take shooting down the range, and he's got a little bit situations. What is as I said, I want to do a video no, not as I said. Before I get started, that's the smartest thing I've said yet. Hey everybody, Yankee here. Today I want to say probably not going to survive. Because I'm off the mark with this. I ain't gonna watch them after old. God damn. I've received this question a few times. Django, don't paw at the door while I'm trying to work. What are you doing? Calm down. Come on, outside. Come on. Outside. You're making too much noise. Go on, go. No, you don't like the shooting, do you? Are they shooting down there? Hold on. I'll let you in safe. Hold on. They're down there shooting on the range and you ain't liking it. I don't know why you don't like it. You hear it all the time. Go on. There and lay down. Lay down. Lay down. That dog of mine.